Now I'd like to call on my colleagues Felicia and Peter, the co-chairs of the steering committee, to present the next segment.
Thank you. And I just want to say I met Tarek and Suhan and her family in Washington, D.C., and I was blown away then, but I was moved even more by their stories. So thank you for coming. And also Ali, as usual, fabulous, fantastic. Thank you. So our next segment is our award ceremony, which is named after one of our fallen heroes, one of our fallen activists who was one of the founding members of the U.S. campaign to end the Israeli occupation, Damu Smith. And for those of you who don't know Damu, he actually was the one that brought me to the U.S. campaign unfortunately through illness. In 2006, he actually was the founder of an organization called Black Voices for Peace that was founded in 2001 as a result of the 9/11 tragedies. And the premise behind the Black Voices for Peace is that he wanted to ensure that African people and African descendant people had a voice in the anti-war movement. As most of you know, in the interim of the last anti-war movement, the Vietnam War, there was a void there. And so in this next interim that we saw with the Iraq War in the 2000s, he wanted to ensure that people of color, and African people especially, would have the opportunity to understand that and learn that the battles that are being fought overseas are the same kinds of battles that are being fought in our communities right here. And so as we're talking about Ferguson, coincidentally, he was born and raised in St. Louis. So when we were in St. Louis 2 years ago for the our national organizers conference, his sister was there to present the award. And I'm sure she would be most proud to know that we are continuing the award. And he would be so proud to hear that we are, as he would say, connecting the dots in terms of making sure that domestic policy and foreign policy come together, because it's the same people that are creating the messes that we're seeing in the world. It's the same regimes that are creating that. And so not to bifurcate and not to compartmentalize movements, because as I mentioned this morning, it's a continuum. What we're doing in terms of social justice, what we're doing in terms of ensuring Palestinian rights is the same things that we're doing, that many of you I know are doing to ensure the rights and human rights and justices here in the United States. So, as I was beginning to say, unfortunately in 2006, we lost him to colon cancer. But as I said, through that, he brought me here, and so I'm so happy to be able to continue his legacy of not only continuing the legacy of the U.S. campaign, but also continuing the legacy of organizing for social justice and human rights, both here in the United States and internationally. So with that, I will turn this over to my colleague Peter, who will present the 2014 Damu Smith Activist Award for the U.S. campaign to end the Israeli occupation.
Thank you, Felicia, for that wonderful introduction and the reason for our award. I'm sure Damu Smith would just be tickled to hear you connecting the dots and making that presentation is wonderful. Thank you. And this is kind of a curious award to give, because the award this year is going to go to the person who was just our keynote speaker, Ali Abou-Naima. Job of giving a bio. I'll give another short bio, just pro forma, but actually these are the words of the person who nominated Ali Abou-Naima, and I thought I couldn't do better. So Ali Abou-Naima has played a pivotal role over the last 15 years in raising the profile of Palestinians in the United States, bringing their voices to the forefront of the movement for Palestinian justice and rights, and also helping develop the tools available to those working for those rights to advocate. He founded the Electronic Intifada blog, a place where Palestinian writers and their supporters gather hundreds of thousands of views a month, and voices that would otherwise go unheard are published. He played a major role in opening up the discourse around a one-state solution with his book, One Country, a proposal to end the Israeli-Palestinian impasse, and has continued to lay out a vision of what that might look like. Last but not least, Ali has recognized the struggles of others in his work, not contributing to those who might hold a myopic view of struggles for justice that sees the Palestinians and no one else. And I am very pleased and honored to present this award this year to Ali Abou-Naima.
Part of remembering Carmel Smith's work in this way. And I see that my name is actually engraved on this, so they were committed. And that they now went tonight. And I'm very grateful. I'll just say this, that thank you, I'm very honored. I would like to dedicate this to my colleagues at the Electronic Intifada. They are an amazing team, and that includes our editors and everybody who contributes, who writes, who provides photography. And I would like to dedicate it to the Palestinian journalists, without whom we would not know what is happening. The 17 Palestinian journalists murdered in the latest Israeli massacre, and to all those journalists whose work continues to enlighten us despite everything that's happening. Thank you very much.
For a moment there, I thought Ali was going to be speechless, but before we go on, I would like to thank 4 very special people who do an enormous amount of work. I would like them to stand up. Josh Rubner, Mike Coogan, Anna Moser, and I just don't know how they do it. Anna has just had a baby. She looks fabulous, but she was in Ferguson, she was at the Presbyterian Church, and she was everywhere. And drama, I always say, must have a multi-threading. In computer systems, we say multi-threaded system. She can do 5 things at the same time. And she's very laid back. And I just don't know how they do it. Mike and Josh, everybody is really amazing, and I'm very, very honored to be associated with you. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to switch to some serious business. And you all know what that means. Those of you who know me in San Diego will say, oh no, I'm in deep trouble now, I didn't bring enough money. But don't worry, we're not going to go hard on you today. I would like to ask for my colleague Andrew Qadi to join me.